Hey guys, wanted to go ahead and do a video to basically talk about the Sound on Sounds article. I actually did a video on this earlier, but what I want to do, or a few years ago, but I am now more confident in my answer. So basically, okay, so before I go on further, I'm going to just go start from the ground up, okay? So I'm just going to assume you don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, so I'm going to just explain everything from the ground up, okay? So let's say you're looking for a microphone and you're not sure what to choose. So what a lot of audio engineers will tell you, and they've been saying this for years upon years, is they will ask you one really simple question. They'll say, do you have acoustic treatment? Do you have acoustic panels? Do you have blankets? Do you have sound treatment around your microphone? Or is it just a desk and like a wall? If your answer is just like you have nothing, then what they'll say is get a dynamic microphone, which I 100% agree. That's exactly what you want to do, especially if you don't have a booth. And it's funny, I have another video I'm going to pop up here where I have a Shure SM7B in a kitchen. It doesn't sound like a kitchen when you listen to it. So this is the Shure SM7B, and I'm currently recording in a kitchen, and this is how the audio sounds. Microphone check, testing 1, 2, 3. It's just basically, that's why people use the SM7B, because it's really good for untreated spaces. However, if you do have a booth and you do have good sound treatment, then you can use something like a condenser microphone, like a TLM103 or a Blue Yeti or what have you, because you have sound treatment and it won't sound as bad.
It's not all about the microphone. A great microphone in a crappy space often accentuates the shittiness of the room, while a decent microphone in a great space can actually produce very good results.
So in other words, too long didn't read is, if you have sound treatment, get a condenser. If you don't have a sound treatment, use a dynamic. Okay, so this brings us to the articles. And what they're saying is, if mics have the same polar pattern and are placed at the same distance from the source, they'll pick up the same balance of direct and reflected sound, no matter whether they are dynamic or capacitator designs. So what they're essentially saying is, that doesn't matter, in the sense that, like, if you bring a condenser microphone up close or at the same distance as a dynamic, they'll pretty much sound the same. And so what I'm here to say is that what they're saying is actually false, because it is false, and I've actually disproven this. So what I did was, so this is a condenser microphone called the Ethos. This has a supercardioid pattern. This is a dynamic microphone called the SEV7. This has a supercardioid pattern. Basically what I did was I brought them to a bathroom, I turned on the vacuum, I turned on water, I made sure they were both the same volume, and at the end of the day, this was picking up everything. So, are they both projecting the sound the same way? What do you think? This was picking up much more louder. Even if I brought them up, it didn't make a difference. But it's not just me.
Not to say that polar pattern plays no role in it, but all else equal, the dynamic takes the win.
So at the end of the day, how is it that we have both disproven this theory? Like, who's wrong here? Another point of reference. This is the Blue Yeti. This is one of the most sensitive microphones on the fucking planet. It'll pick up a cat's fart from 1,000,000 miles away. You're telling me that a Blue Yeti brought up close to my mouth and a dynamic microphone is going to pick up the same? No, they're not. That's really false. I don't know why people say it. It's not true. Okay, now going on to point number 2. Regardless of what you think, can you agree with me on this? Condenser microphones pick up more detail. They pick up more detail. That detail can work against you. In other words, if there's a lot of clickety-clackety noises, it's going to pick up all that detail. Well, at the end of the day, you don't want to go for something that picks up all that annoying detail. You want to go for something that doesn't, which is a dynamic microphone in general. Finally, the third point, which is, I think, pretty important too, is sometimes people will kind of sprout that article around and they'll say it. And so I ask them a question and then it puts them on pause and they can't say anything. And my question is this. Well, if what you're saying is true, are you saying that I should bring a condenser microphone all the way up to the distance of a dynamic mic? Is that what you're proposing? And you'll realize that actually, in terms of practicality, that doesn't make sense. Because if you bring a condenser up that close, it's going to sound like shit. It sounds terrible. Because that's not what you're supposed to put condensers generally about a hang loose about a fit. This is where you want to put it. You don't want it this close. That's going to sound bad. So it's almost like they're saying what you're doing doesn't work, But here's a worse solution. It's like, you don't want to do, in other words, if you really actually put the wheels together, and I always kind of think outside the box, you realize they have no solution. It's not a solution.